Welcome to Gearhaven. This is a gentle fantasy story from the world of the detective Glint, where mysteries are solved with kindness instead of fear. Find a comfortable place to rest and let the Lanternlight guide you. The tram line ended one stop earlier than most people expected. There was no gate, no sign announcing it, only a small turning circle where the tracks curved gently back toward the city. At the very end stood a single bench, iron-framed and polished smooth by years of quiet use. Detective Glint noticed the bench because people didn't sit on it for long. They arrived tired, settled carefully, then stood again after only a few minutes, as if they had remembered something important, but couldn't quite name it. Glint sat down and waited. The bench creaked softly beneath him, not in complaint, but acknowledgement. "I'm not meant for staying," the bench said in a low, patient voice. "I'm meant for arriving." Glint nodded, lantern resting at his side. The tram conductor paused nearby, watching passengers step off and hesitate. Some glanced back at the city. Others stared down the quiet road that led nowhere in particular. "People think this is the end," the bench continued. "But it's only where movement pauses long enough to notice itself." Glint listened as footsteps came and went. A traveler sat beside him, shoulders heavy with unfinished plans. They rested their hands on their knees and exhaled slowly, as if finally allowed to stop holding something up. "I don't know where to go next," the traveler said. The bench warmed slightly. "You don't need to," it replied. "Not yet." Over the next hour, Glint observed a pattern. No one stayed long, but everyone left lighter. Some stood straighter. Some smiled faintly, surprised by the feeling. Others simply walked away more slowly than they had arrived. The bench did not offer answers. It offered space. "I used to be part of the city," the bench said quietly. "When the line extended farther, people rushed past me. I was just something in the way." "And now?" Glint asked. "Now I'm where people stop pretending they're still moving." That afternoon, a young engineer approached, notebook tucked under their arm. They sat down, flipped through a few pages, then closed it without writing anything. After a moment, they stood. "Thank you," they said, though no one else was there. The bench hummed contentedly. The problem, Glint realized, wasn't the bench. It was how people spoke about the end of the line. They called it final. They called it failure. They called it too late. Glint visited the tram office that evening. By morning, the schedule had changed. The last stop was no longer labeled end of line. It read, pause. The next day, more people sat down. They stayed a little longer, not stuck, just present. Some talked quietly with strangers. Others stared down the empty road, not with fear, but curiosity. The bench felt steadier now, less apologetic for its place in the world. As dusk settled, Glint sat one final time. "Will they keep coming?" he asked. "As long as they need a place to stop without explanation," the bench replied. Before leaving, Glint wrote in his casebook, "Not every ending is meant to close something. Some exist to let us breathe before we choose what comes next." The tram bell rang softly. The city waited, and the bench remained, patient, solid, and ready. Glint did not leave immediately. He stayed long enough to watch the rhythm settle in around the bench. The trams came and went, bells ringing softly, but the pause at the end of the line felt different now. Less uncertain, more intentional. A couple arrived together and sat without speaking. One leaned back, eyes closed. The other traced the grain of the bench with their fingertips, grounding themselves in the moment. Neither seemed in a hurry to stand. The bench felt stronger for it. I used to feel forgotten, it admitted quietly, like something unfinished. Glint shook his head. You're not unfinished, he said. You're where people remember themselves. The bench absorbed that, its metal frame warming slightly beneath the evening air. Later, a conductor approached and rested a hand briefly on the back of the bench before continuing on. It was a small gesture, but it carried respect. Acknowledgement that this place mattered, even if it wasn't moving anyone forward. As night settled, lanterns flickered on along the track. The empty road beyond the bench no longer felt like an absence, but a possibility waiting patiently. Before finally leaving, Glint added one last note beneath the earlier entry in his casebook. Pausing is not the opposite of progress. Sometimes it is how progress begins. Thank you for spending this time in Gearhaven. If you enjoyed this gentle mystery, you'll find more stories waiting in the playlist. Until next time, keep your lantern close and rest well.